All right, the Biden administration is still holding on to its claim of running the most ethical White House in history. That's a quote. So despite lingering questions over whether art patrons are going to be able to seek influence with the first family by purchasing a work of art by Hunter Biden, the president's son, he has an upcoming exhibition in New York City. It's his first. Critics argue that Hunter Biden's art wouldn't be worth much of anything if he weren't the son of the president of the United States. The White House initially said buyers would remain anonymous to the young Biden, curbing any possible influence. Now they're confirming reports that Hunter Biden is going to attend gallery events in New York and Los Angeles with possible patrons. We bring in Mary Goldberg, owner of the ZENITH Gallery in the Washington, D.C. metro area. What better place to sell Hunter's art than in Washington, D.C.? Would you have taken this listing if you could have? No. No? Not very impressed with the art?
No, actually, you're not the first news outlet to ask me. I have been in business 43 years in Washington, and by the way, it's Marjorie Goldberg.
Oh, Marjorie, pardon me.
That's okay.
I should have known that. That was my godmother's name. I apologize.
Yeah, but as I say, I spell it M-A-R-G-E-R-Y, not the way the lunatic in Congress spells her name. But never mind. Okay. I'm in Washington. What can I do, you know? But, you know, I think art, you know, I started at 10 years old. You can start at 10, you can start at 100. You could do art at any age. But you have to grow into it. You have to develop your art. And he, you know, nobody, I have never heard of an artist in my entire life who started out selling their work at the prices these are supposed to sell for. So, and, you know,
we're going to put up some of these works. Okay. Based on what you're saying about them, if it was Hunter Smith rather than Hunter Biden, what would these be selling for? Or would they be selling?
They might be selling. The one I like the most is the first one you put up.
Can we go? Let's go back to that one so we can show you. Okay.
No, and that is, some of these are just so done, you know. I mean, that is the one I like. It's a person, it's interesting, it's got some negative space to it. This is just sort of a big blob to me. And, you know, I can show you hundreds, if not thousands, of artists' work that is so much, you know, better than this. That one isn't bad. I like the writing on it.
Who buys this, you think?
I can't imagine.
Okay.
You know,
well, it's interesting you say that, because the White House former ethics chief, and this is the ethics chief, important to note, that was there during the Obama-Biden administration, so 2009 to 2017, he wrote this: imagine you're a Kremlin official looking for a way to embarrass the U.S., and one day you read that the White House negotiated with a private art dealer to keep secret the name of buyers who pay outrageous sums in an upcoming auction for an artwork by the president's son. And originally, this was going to be all anonymous, supposedly, but now there's going to be these gallery visits, so conceivably Hunter can meet all the people who are going to be there with his art. I'm sure you've been at meetings like that, right?
I had one last weekend. I have openings constantly. And having an opening and having the clients there is normal. I mean, him being there is normal. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I think is the only reason they're having the galleries are having this show is because he's the president's son. Yeah. Now, I also think that, frankly, of some of the other things he's done, this may be the least embarrassing thing he's ever done to his father.
He's had some issues for sure. You don't want to hold that against somebody at the same level. This is the White House's position on this, as we've noted, has sort of been, well, to put it generously, evolving. Take a listen to Jen Psaki.
I think it would be challenging for an anonymous person who we don't know and Hunter Biden doesn't know to have influence. This showing that was that you're referencing was previously public. He's not going to have any conversations related to the selling of art. That will be left to the gallerist.
Is that possible, to have a meeting there and not talk about the selling of art?
I don't think so. You know, I mean, that's what we do. We sell art. That's what gallery owners do. If we're not doing that, we're not doing our job. Right. But, you know, I think And I don't really think that people buy art to gain influence with the president. I mean, that is about the silliest thing I've heard in a really, really, really long time. You know, I mean, what does this do? I mean, he might be glad that his son is expressing himself and working out some of his issues, and all of that is perfectly fine. But for somebody to think that they're going to buy a painting to get, you know, influence with the president, that is downright laughable.
Well, the thought would be if you bought some of these paintings for a couple of $1,000,000 and then you put on Twitter that you did, it certainly would let the Biden family know who's just enriched them pretty significantly. I guess you could put it in a trust perhaps until after the president was out of office or something like that.
First, if somebody buys one of those paintings for $1 million, I think they'd be far better off giving the money directly to Biden's PAC or to the Biden cause, because they'll be a lot more likely to gain influence.
That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that.
You know, I mean, why bother? I mean, you know, if you like the painting, buy the painting. But, I mean, you have to understand that this is an artist who is not an educated artist, who is working on his issues.
Let me ask you this way. If someone were to buy this piece now, what do you think it would be worth on either January 21st, 2025 or January 21st, 2029, when President Biden is no longer President Biden?
Not much.
Not much. All right.
No, I mean, on the other hand, you know, art is worth, you know, artists don't think in terms of weeks, years, or decades. We think in terms of centuries and millennia.
Fair.
So all that really matters is that somebody likes it. You know, if that work of art makes you happy, if it feels good in your home, that's the reason to buy it. I'm telling you, people do not buy art to buy influence.
Fair enough.
I mean,
I know it's a great perspective. Marjorie Goldberg.
Well, I don't understand any other kind of perspective, to be honest with you.
No,
I mean,
we appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise and your love of art. Owner of the Zenith Gallery with us tonight. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Good to see you. So, up next, is he ready to run for the White House? I don't think the doctor we had on earlier has much thought about Ron DeSantis, but just yesterday on this show, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis got an endorsement. We're going to take a look at how much money he's raised and where it's coming from.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because as a fiduciary, it's our responsibility to always put clients first.
So you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. We help clients enjoy a comfortable